Hey guys, today I want to talk about how to win on Battlefield of Eternity, the different strategies as well as how to draft on this map. This is one of my favorite maps because there's a variety of strategies to use and there's a variety of ways to draft for this map and still win the game. So the first thing that I want to talk about is the strategies of the map, how the map works, the camps on the map, and then I'm going to go into the drafting of this map. So the first thing that I want to talk about is how the objectives work and how the camps work. So the first thing is you have this objective that spawns and it'll start off and it'll spawn up and down the first time, and then it'll go left and right, and then after that it's essentially random. When this objective spawns, one side is going to try to kill the other side and vice versa. You can defend or you can attack, and if your team does more damage to like non-heroes, it's usually better to attack. And then if your team is more teamfight oriented, it's better to defend. In this case, both of the teams are more teamfight oriented, so we're both trying to defend and just kill each other instead of actually killing the immortals. And that is a viable strategy as well. So the way the camps work on this map is you have Goatman camps, which are sometimes considered the siege camps of this map, or the easies. And then you have the Shaman camps, which are considered the hard camps or the pusher camps. The way that it works is essentially you should be picking up these camps whenever you get an opportunity to. Yes, they synergize well if you can pick them both in the same lane against a team that doesn't have a lot of clearing potential, like wave clear. But essentially, it's just the best to pick these camps whenever you have the ability to pick them safely. The Shaman camps are a little bit different. These will push endlessly. They keep summoning dogs every time that their dogs die, and it allows them to keep pushing forever. So with the Shaman camps, what you want to do is you effectively want to get them right before an objective. You can see our team got it before the objective and their team did not. If you can do this in low-ranked games, this is pretty much a guaranteed win. I was telling one of my friends to do this, and his win rate on this map, he's in gold, and his win rate on this map is now 80%. Because if you get this camp and the enemies don't, what's going to happen is you're going to put the enemies into a position that they can't come back from. And I like using the example of tic-tac-toe, so let me show you guys what I mean by that. So if I were to say tic-tac-toe guaranteed win, and I go to the images, this is a guaranteed win in tic-tac-toe. You put an X in a corner, you put an X in another corner, and then you put an X in the last corner, in the third corner anyways, and it's a guaranteed win. They have a way to get out of this, but they don't always do that. So you get put in this position where if they go up here, you go here and you win. If they go here, you go here and they win. If they go anywhere else, you just win. So you can put people in positions in tic-tac-toe where any decision they make is wrong just by them making wrong decisions. So if your team gets this and they don't get theirs, you already put them into that position. Because this Shaman camp, I've seen it push and take out a fort and a keep in an individual Shaman camp. So that's what you want to do. You want to give it that opportunity by putting a Shaman camp in a lane, and it forces the enemies to split up, or they need to immediately lose half of the immortals. I'll show you an example of this working later in the game, but I kind of just want to show you something that happens when you win the objective. So when you win the objective, the biggest mistake that people make is they always go into lane first. And when they go into lane first, oftentimes they're putting themselves at risk to getting thrown and killed while some of your team is recalling, while some of your team is getting fountains. I see two people go in lane and they immediately die. So you don't want to go into lane until your immortal's in lane, unless you're all five there, and then you can go for downing a tower or a fountain. When the objective gets there, for this map as well as Infernal Shrines, it's important to down a side wall early, especially if you have very aggressive dive tanks. The reason why is you don't want the enemies to just get free DPS off on the boss. You want to play aggressive and kind of scare them off. So the first thing that we like doing is I get to lane, and we down the side wall first. This allows our tanks to hop in and save someone who gets thrown. In this case, he's not going to get saved just because there's too many things to stop it. As the objective is dying, you should be making a call out of, should we be doing a camp? Should we be invading their camp? Or should we be doing a bottom camp? Maybe should we be ganking bot and helping them out? When you make these calls, you should be putting in a lot of consideration of what is most valuable. If the enemies are all here, sometimes it's not valuable to immediately go for top camp because they could follow up and they could kill you at top camp. So in this case, I would recommend probably helping out bottom and going for a bottom camp. This also is going to make it easier on the bottom laner and can give the bottom laner the chance to go back to top lane if they want to. As you can see, I make the call of going down to bottom lane, start clearing this, ask Malthael to help out, as well as I tell him to back up out of top camp because we would have died if we would have stayed there. They use some ultimates. They're fighting. I go in pretty aggressive because they've already used their ultimates, and I know I don't need to worry about it. We're just trying to get them out of lane. So in lower ranks, it's easy to always win because you just need to get this objective. But in Masters, what happens a lot of times is both teams get theirs, and it just breaks even every time. So if you're in Masters, what you want to do is you want to bait the team to take theirs early. What I like doing is I like grouping up top lane right before the second objective, and I like to see if I can scare them into taking this before the objective spawns. They take it, it goes up here, you clear it, and then you do yours, the objective spawns, and again you're in a tic-tac-toe, forcing them into a bad position. So this objective, we didn't end up scaring them into doing it, but we cleared ours pretty quickly, and they felt like they didn't clear theirs fast enough, so they just gave up on it. As you can see, they decide, hey, let's not finish this right now. Or I'm pretty sure they do. Oh, I guess they do finish it. Yeah, I'm thinking of a different game. My bad. So we finish ours, and this is what we do. And this is normally how it works in Masters, is both teams finish theirs. But we're putting them into a worse position because they're about to lose a fort, and that would give us the experience needed to hit level 13 first. We also won the race first because we finished the camp first. So making the call to go to the camp faster will always net you the win. So the way this plays out is really interesting. We don't need to worry about this because, again, we still have most of our stuff up here, and they're missing most of their stuff down there, so we'll hit 13 first. This is going to cause them to make a decision. They need to either split up and try to clear this and then lose a team fight, or they need to group up and all clear this, and then they're going to lose the objective. Or they need to group up and all clear the objective, but then they're going to lose the fort. They have 3 decisions, and all 3 of them cause them to lose something. So, what do they make the decision on? We just stall, because remember, we win either way. So we're just stalling. They make the decision of splitting up and going bottom, which is going to cost them Kel'Thuzad as a kill, or as a death, Sonya as a death. And guess what? We still have this objective pushing, this camp pushing. Now we get to fight a 5v3, all because we got a good camp. We can ignore ours. I mean, ours isn't that important. But this is what happens even if you don't trade. Say they didn't get that camp, we wouldn't even need to worry about this, and this still would have won. So if you're in low ranks, getting this camp right at the beginning of the objective is the easiest way to win this game. So we kill them there. And we win the objective. So I wanted to share, those are the 2 major strategies. When you're fighting, wait until your objective gets there, destroy a sidewall so that you could play more aggressively, as well as getting this objective before you get the, or getting this camp before the objective will net you mostly always getting a win on the objective. Or it'll get you a whole bunch of kills. Either way, you win the game by forcing them into situations where they can't do anything. So that is the main strategies. Those are the main strategies for winning on this map. I'm not going to go through the entire thing because just for the sake of time, I don't want to go for another 10 minutes and explain all the little details of things that you could do. Those are the big ones. Take these camps whenever you have the opportunity. Take these camps right before an objective. In low ranks, this is guaranteed to win. In high ranks, to make it a win, you have to force them to take theirs earlier so you can clear it up before the objective. And now finally comes down to drafting. Both of our teams were fight teams. We didn't have anyone who could really race. Our fastest was Malthael. Their fastest was probably Sonya with Wrath of the Berserker. So I want to get into the draft really quick and talk about heroes that are good on this map. So what I like to do when I'm looking at a map is I like to look into the the actual popularity and win rates of certain heroes. I will make a tier list on this map eventually. I don't know when I'm going to do it, but when I do make this tier list, I'm going to throw it in the description below, as well as I'll have the links on Reddit or wherever else it needs to be. But I don't want to make a tier list right now. It's going to take a little while, and this is going to be an easy ballpark to kind of show you. So the number one picked hero on this map, in Hero League anyways, is Vala. Vala has a reason for doing that, though. And this is the problem with Vala, is a lot of people will see Vala being picked and they go, oh, Hot Pursuit means more hatred, and they go for that. No. I want to show you guys something really quick that you can do. If you're going to pick a hero on a specific map, you can also figure out why this hero is even played. So I like to go and get a good amount of people, Masters Diamond Plat, a good amount of games, and then I go and I pick the map that they're played on, and look. You see the build that's picked. They're not picking Hot Pursuit anymore. They're picking Monster Hunter, which is increasing the non-hero damage of your Q. Then this is increasing the damage of your Q. And then this is making it to where your Q gets reset whenever you use whenever you use E. So when you're racing, you do a Q, an E, a Q, and then auto attacks, and you're going to outrace just about anyone else in the game. There was this thing that showed the racing speeds, and I will likely do a video about who races the fastest, but it's going to take me like a month to do, because it's so much work counting out all the DPS and all that at every single level. So I will do that video, but it's going to be a lot later. So as of right now, some of the fastest racers in the game are Vala, Greymane, Hanzo, as well as a few other auto attackers, which we'll get into later. But those are some of the fastest racers in the game. But some are a little deceiving. Greymane's win rate is not very high, despite the fact that he's picked quite a bit. Maiev has a really high win rate, not just because she's Maiev, but remember that there's two ways to draft on this map. You either draft for the race or you draft for the team fight. You can do a mix and match of both, but those are the two things that you should be focusing on. During the team fight, if you're defending as a Maiev, you can't race with a Maiev, but if you defend as a Maiev, everyone's clustered together and you can get a lot of kills. Same with Diablo. Like, he's not a good racer, but he can still hit people against walls very easily. He can force them into positions that they don't need to be in. Artanis. He's great in two reasons. In my opinion, he's one of the top tier heroes for this map. One, Suppression Pulse is a great way to slow down the race on the other team. If they have a bunch of auto attackers like Greymane, you could be racing on your side, drop a Suppression Pulse, and there's 4 seconds that the enemies aren't doing very much damage, while you have 4 seconds that you can race. So Artanis is a must for a race comp. Also, Artanis has something for this as well. We go in here, we go Master Diamond Plat, we go last 3 weeks or so, and then you go Battlefield of Eternity. Amateur opponent, picked 87% of the time with a 55% win rate on a level 1 talent. That is huge. So you want to be picking heroes that can do damage to non-heroes, like Artanis, Hanzo, Vala. They do bonus damage to non-heroes, as well as there's a variety of others you can pick, but you also want to be picking people who are good for team fights. So that's essentially how you want to be drafting for these. You want to either pick a fight comp, which is all going to be based off of Diablos, Maievs, people with swaps, stuns. You want to pick one person for the solo lane. So Sonya and Malthael are very strong on this map. But that's essentially how you want to draft on this map. So that explains essentially the tricks that you can do by abusing the camps, as well as the drafts, how you want to pick either a fight comp or a race comp, and how to utilize those. If you have any other tips you'd like to add on this map, feel free to add them below. And if you are really interested in the tier list for the different heroes, I can definitely add a tier list on this map, and I'll throw it into the description. Well, if there's anything else, if you like these videos, feel free to subscribe, and yeah, just comment. Thanks.